Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another question and answer session on Hinduism. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. Welcome to the broadcast, Jay bhai.
Real pleasure, sir.
It's been a wonderful week we've had so far, and I'm looking forward to getting through today's session. Today's session is going to be a little bit different from our normal sessions. We've come up with this idea that every so often we will come up with a thematic broadcast where we get hold of one item or one branch or one thing to talk about, and then we'll go into depth into it so that you, the viewers, can understand better what it is that we're talking about, and you can have a better grasp of the topic in question. So today's topic is going to be about the Upanishads, and frankly speaking, Jay, I think majority of the Hindus have heard about Upanishads, but they don't really have a clue what it's all about. So would you be able to elaborate on what these are and what is their significance to Hinduism?
In fact, it's a very good thing to take up. The reason is I know, because I go to so many schools, colleges, lectures at Hindu temples, all that 90% or say 99% of people have heard the word Upanishad being mentioned here and there, and they know it's something important, but they don't know what it stands for, where it appears in Hindu scriptures, and what's it all about. So let me just elaborate a little bit. You see, our tradition always focuses on experiential aspect of religion. Experiential. We don't believe in just belief system and die and everything will work out. We don't agree with that. We say it has to be experiential. Religion has to be experiential. First-hand encounter. This is the way. Not even your prophet, experiencing whatever, spirit or Atman or God. You have to experience. This is our speciality. We make religion, if you like, accessible to the common man. This is our speciality. Now, only once in a while an individual is successful in encountering the spirit or Atman or God for himself, once or herself, only once in a while. But once that person has that experience, the material that comes out of the lips of that person, man or woman, is so dramatic that we have to give it special importance in our scriptures. These are the words of a person who has actually experienced God or spirit or Atman and is giving expression to his experience. This is very serious, very important. Now this is if you like, the foundation of the word Upanishad. And the reason why it is important is this. Upa means come near. Shad means I will destroy your delusion regarding nature of reality. When we started our sessions, I said Dharma actually really means not just being religion. Dharma means making sense of our human condition. What is the nature of reality? What is my true nature? How am I connected with the rest of reality? This is the meaning of the word Dharma. Deeper meaning, not just saying be religious and go to the temple and crack coconut and believe in God. No. Who the heck are we? What is going on? So when a person encounters the spirit, Atman or God, that person has found a resolution to what is this all about. So the material that comes out of his lips is dramatic. It is really the AAA. This is the scripture of authority of Hindus, and we call them Upanishad. Come near me, I will destroy your delusion regarding what is the nature of reality and what is your true nature. This is the whole heart of Hindu tradition. You see, other traditions are fixated on just Shraddha, belief system. We say, no, belief is just starting one of your religious journey. You must experience this for yourself. And if you don't experience it, at least listen to the people who experienced it, and that material is called Upanishad. This is the scripture of authority of Hindus. And let me tell you also where they occur, because people say, where do they occur? The ancient Upanishads occurred in the scriptures called the Vedas, the scriptures of authority of Hinduism. Now they didn't appear, they normally appear at the end portion of the Vedas. The Vedas are divided in the follows. The early part of Vedas is just, praising the forces of nature, Agni and Indra and Vayu and all that. The second part is ritualistic practices. Do this kind of altar and offer these kind of things in the Havan, and you do your liturgy. Second part is liturgy. The final part, which comes to the Aaronic portion of the Vedas, this is where the throbbing philosophic heart of Hinduism lies. And this lies with these gems called the Upanishads. These are marvelous gems. They are not argumentative. They are not trying to prove anything, because they experienced God. So they don't need to prove it to you, to argue about it with you. They just give you a poetic expression of the spiritual experience. They are highly poetic, if you really know Sanskrit and if you can recite something, it'll charge you up. They are really poetic and dramatic. So this is why the Upanishads are very crucial. They give us, if you like, the deeper vision of Hinduism, which is not just belief system, but experiential religion. That is why we love them.
So this is what we call the Vedanta, the end of the Vedas.
Correct.
Brilliant. So now that we've learned what the Upanishads are, The next question is, why are they important?
Okay, as I said, here we see for the first time, or if you like, the idea of religion becoming real for us, encountering the religious idea. So a person who experiences spirit is giving expression to this experience, and that is why they are very relevant. Otherwise, you just make believe. So this is why they are very crucial. We are getting the material from the horse's mouth. And the person says, yes, I have experienced. And Nishika, let me add something else. People feel that, Upanishads must be in the ancient Vedas and they are collecting dust in the library. In fact, the way the Upanishads are defined, these are not restricted to the Vedic scriptures of ancient India. If a viewer here is able to experience the spirit, Atman, or God for him or herself, whatever expression that individual gives regarding his experience, today, now, not in the ancient times, that becomes modern Upanishad. We are a living tradition. So not fixated, must dig it out from the Yajur Veda. You can experience it, and if you give expression to it, in fact, most of the modern giants of Hinduism have given expression to this idea of spiritual experience, and whatever flowed out of their lips is the purest of Upanishads for our time. And I give you two examples. I keep giving the same example. If you listen to the story of Ramana Maharshi and how he was expressing his spiritual experience, you straight away get hit. So these are the kind of modern rishis, modern people who encounter the spirit and give expression to their experience, and that is, according to me, much more relevant to Upanishad because they talk in our own times, in our own language. So I prefer the modern ones rather than the ancient ones, but I still love to. I don't know why I love to look at the ancient ones, because they're so poetic, so catch you. Let me touch on one of the Upanishads. You'll see how it captures you.
Okay, so are you going to be giving an example or later on?
Later on.
Brilliant. So folks, if you've just joined us, remember you're watching a live question and answer session with myself, Nishit Kotak, and I've got Jay Lakhani here. We do this every Saturday at 2 o'clock and we run for about 45 minutes. If you are new to the broadcast, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hindu Academy. We also are live on Facebook at facebook.com/Hindu Academy, or you can search for Jay Lakhani on Facebook and you'll find us live streaming there as well. Normally we would have live question and answer with the viewers, but today is a bit different. We are following a theme, and today's theme is going to be the Upanishads. We have so far looked at what they are, why are they important. Now the third thing is, why is it if they are so important, people like myself, there are so many Hindus like me who are having no knowledge of the Upanishads. Why does that happen?
Very true. You must ask this. You see, the reason is this. As I said, they are very subtle. They are poetic in nature. They don't argue, debate about God or spirit. They are poetry. And they are very short and simple, like short aphorisms. So for a common man, I'm not blaming the common man. He says, what the heck are these people talking about? So it goes above their head. They can't understand, grasp the meaning or the depth of Upanishad. They're highly poetic, very short aphorisms. So it is very difficult for the common person to relate to the teachings of the Upanishads. So they have not bothered, but then one good thing has happened. There are 108 Upanishads, or maybe more even, because some of them are difficult to even find. But they all talk about how to become spiritual using different methods, different iconography. They use different ways of relating to the spirit. But there are 108. And there was no reconciliation, so it looks like a scattered enterprise. Even though all of them are talking of spirit,
there's no structure.
There's not. So what happened is this is the beauty. We discovered one giant, a spiritual giant called Krishna, who decided to synthesize, to reconcile the teachings of the Upanishads, and that he did extremely well. Now that particular system he has kind of given to Hindus is called the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but reconciliation and synthesis of the Upanishadic teachings. Even the Bhagavad Gita appears in the part of the Smriti scripture in the story of Mahabharata. The material it contains is the purest of Shruti, the high philosophy of Hinduism, which is contained in the Upanishad, reconciled in the Bhagavad Gita. That's why the Hindus will swear by the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, anybody asks, you have got the Upanishad? They say no. Have you got the Bhagavad Gita? They say, yes. Okay, you got the synthesis, you got the reconciliation of the Upanishad. So that's why it is kind of contained in the Bhagavad Gita rather than, this is what average Hindu will have rather than the Upanishad. But I would recommend that you buy one or two Upanishads and study them. They are thrilling, if I can use the word thrilling.
Fantastic. So before we go ahead further in the broadcast, I'd just like to welcome some of our viewers. So we've got Supriya Krishnamurthy, we've got Pratik Garg watching us live online, and we've got a few other viewers on YouTube. We've got Priya Ranjan, Sajan Varyar, we've got Paula K, we've got Trushar Patel, Dilip Kondapati, and many, many others. So, Jiba, you said there are more than 108 Upanishads. So, there must be some that are that resonate more than others to you.
Yes.
So, what Upanishad are we going to look at today then?
You see, different individuals might focus on a specific Upanishad. Nothing wrong. This is the way you get charged up. Perfectly fine. There are, as I said, 108 Upanishads. There are some which are considered to be central by Adi Shankara. And so the Hindus, modern Hindus, will like to study those Upanishads. Now, one of those very central Upanishads is called the Kathopanishad. And that's what I wish to focus on today. I might go into a story format, so you must bear with me as if I'm talking to children and doing a story, but bear with it because it contains the depth of Hindu teaching. So we're going to focus on the Kathopanishad. Now the Kathopanishad occurs in the ancient scripture called the Yajur Veda, so it sits there. But the material it contains is dramatic, and I find it highly attractive compared to other Upanishads. For example, there are some huge, vast Upanishad called the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, huge amount of material.
Mm-hmm.
I read it through it, I studied it, and some parts I was struggling with because it doesn't seem right to be in the Upanishad. So I was struggling. Some are very nice, like Chandogya Upanishad is beautiful. This is where you got the words like the Mahavakyas of the Vedas, Tattvamasi, thou art that, my friend, what you are searching for is your true nature. That kind of stuff appears there. And we have got various other Upanishads. Some are very tiny. Isha Upanishad is very tiny, 18 verses I think, and some are very long. And the Kathopanishad is middle size. But let me touch on the Kathopanishad and fall into a kind of story format. Please bear with it because I can't. You can only throw Googles at me. Don't let me get away with whatever I'm saying. So the Kathopanishad appears in the Yajur Veda. Now this is very beautiful. There is if you like a story format whereby this philosophy is introduced to an observer. The story format goes as follows. In ancient times was a rishi and this Gautam. And this Gautam was actually carrying out a particular yagna. Yagna basically means you sacrifice your ego. When you say swaha, you are saying I am sacrificing my ego. And different yagnas have different titles. And this one said, give everything away. This is the name of this particular yagna. So this Gautam was doing this particular sacrificial havan, and he was giving away a naughty man. He was giving away those cows that had stopped giving milk. He said, "This I don't need. Get rid of it." We do it in our terms. When there is a tsunami or something, we say we'll send our clothes. The clothes we don't use, we chuck it in and say, "Give it." It's not nice. It's very undignifying. So this is the habit, and this is what this particular Gautam was doing, giving away things we did not require. The yagna said, the best thing you possess, you must give it away to get rid of your ego. That this is my best thing. I part company with it. So he was doing this, and he had a little son. This son is a very beautiful character of the Hindu tradition. This little son is called Nachiketa, beautiful name. This Nachiketa was observing, a very young chap, a very discerning fellow. He said, my father is supposed to give away the best things, he's giving me the worst thing he doesn't require, he's giving it away. This is not right. So in a very pointed manner, this Nachiketa went to the father and said, Father, you are supposed to give the best thing you possess away. So I am your best son, who are you giving me to? Now it's very naughty for a boy to ask things, stuff like that. And the father said, go away. Again he went second time, Father, who are you giving me to? And the father said, go away. Third time Nachiketa went to the father and said, Father, but you are supposed to give your best things away, and I am your best son. Who are you giving me to? Now this was too much for any father, understandable. He was getting irritated. He said, the Hindi version would be, you go in English version, you go to hell. The Hindi version was, I give you to the king of death. I donate you to the king of death, means die. This is what he said. Now you see, the little boy said, I take your word. I'm going to die now. I'm going to go to the king of death. You see how beautifully this Upanishad is developed. This is the story format. Don't say it's literally true. No, literally. But the little boy said, okay, my father said I have to be given to the king of death. You see why this is important Upanishad? It is telling us to get life into perspective, you have to take into account death. It puts life in perspective. What is the importance of life? So this Nachiketa, in a way, through this Upanishad is saying, okay, I'm going to go to the king of death. This is the story part. So Nachiketa goes to Yama's house. Yama is the king of death. And Yama, perhaps there was a famine, a lot of people were dying, so collecting souls all over the world. So he wasn't at home. This is the story for me, smile. So this Nachiketa is a very steadfast boy. He says, my father said, go to king of death, so I'm here. He waited at the door of the death, king of death. He waited. Not 1 day, not 2 days, 3 days he waited, waiting for the king of death to appear. After 3 days, the king of death, Yama, She's shown with the black face and big beard and moustache, and carrying this big mace appeared. And the people said, this boy has been waiting for 3 days and 3 nights. He's persevered, his tremendous perseverance. He didn't flinch, he waited without food or drink. The king of death said, I am very pleased. This boy is really, tremendous perseverance. So he asked him, why are you here? And the boy said, my father said, go to the king of death, so I'm here now. So this king of death, this is just the beginning, the format of the story, why death is important, to explore the deeper vision regarding who we are. The king of death said, look, I'm so pleased with you, I give you 3 boons. The standard stuff, either you curse or you give boons in Hinduism. So I give you 3 boons. What do you want, my boy? The boy was very, practical chap. He said, first of all, I don't want to die. My father said, go die. Die. I don't want to die. But when I go back, I want my father to be happy with me, not so angry. He's very angry with me, so he sent me here. The king of just smiled. He said, okay, you want to live, carry on living? No problem, you can carry on living. I won't take you. And when you go back, your father will be happy with you, to see you back. So number 1 boon given. Then, this is a beautiful story. And in fact, it shows the transition of Hinduism from a very material approach to a highly spiritual approach. Yeah. You'll see in a minute. So the king of death said, okay, that's sorted out. Now what's the second boon? And Nachiketa said, look, I've heard about lots of yagnas people do, means these ceremonials they do, rituals they carry out, which allows them to get access to heaven. And there they, of course, are dancing girls and everything, fun, no death, no old age. Now this is interesting. What is the best havan or the sacrifice we can do so that people reach the highest heaven and stay there for a long time? Tell me about the secret of that particular ritual. And the king of death smiled and said, okay, you want to go to heaven? Okay. So I'm going to teach you the havan that will take you to the highest heaven. And this yagna from now on will be called Nachiketa Yagna in your name. And Nachiketa was happy. Okay, so far so good. Then this is the real beginning of the Upanishad. So far, you see the transition from just want to live to go to a higher plane of living existence where there's less pain and more pleasure. This is the transition of Hinduism, but still material aspiration. Then the third boon, shows the spiritual aspiration. And the king of death said, now what's the third boon you want, my boy? We like this boy. He's a steady little chap. He said, oh, king of death, tell me the secret of immortality. Even if you go to heaven, you stay for 1,000 years, you come back and you're drained after all this fun. So it's tiresome. I'm not interested in even going to heaven. Tell me what is the secret of immortality. Look at the language. Little 5-year-old boy, I want that. Now the king of death was surprised. No boy would ask stuff like that. It's highly philosophic. So he said, let me test him. Standard, lovely storytelling. So the king of death said, my boy, this is difficult stuff. I don't want to get caught up with these difficult questions. Look, I'm the king of death, very powerful person. I can make you the king of this earth for 1,000 years. King of the whole world for 1,000 years. I can give you a lot of little sweet princesses to marry and dance with you and look after you. Oh, and chariots of gold. I give you all this. All the treasures of the world. You can be the ruler of the world with lots of little sweet girls to marry. Come on, my boy. This is what I can offer you. Don't ask these difficult questions. They're tricky questions. Just, I give you this. Accept it. I'll give that to you. Now you see, any other youngster would be kind of fascinated. King of the whole world with sweet princesses to marry. Even Nishibai saying, not a bad idea. And so you would think the boy would be easily fobbed off, it can be bought out. This is the part where I love this Nachiketa. Nachiketa said, look at the language. He said, oh, king of death, keep the dancing girls and the chariots of gold with you. I'm not interested. Tell me the secret of immortality. Now, so the king of death smiled. Nobody would resist it. And this boy showed tremendous perseverance, tremendous resistance, not being bought out, cannot be fobbed off by material gains. This is the beginning of spiritual dimension of this Upanishad. The king of death said, look, my boy, what you have asked, very few people have bothered to ask. This is why I am so pleased with you, because you have shown the important characteristics required for a true aspirant for spiritual progress. First, vivek, discrimination. Even going to heaven for 1,000 years is peanuts compared to the infinite time. It's peanuts, 1,000 years. What's the point? Or being given all this kind of exciting stuff to kind of, material life and female to kind of, marry, etc. This boy is not bothered. He has shown that most important 3 requirements for any true spiritual aspirant. Perseverance is studio for 3 days. Second, vivek, discrimination between what is temporary and what is permanent. Immortality, permanent. And the third thing this boy is shown is vairagya, this passion for worldly pleasures. When you got these three things in your system, you are ready to make spiritual progress. This is a lovely story being wound up to the story of Nachiketa talking to King of Death, Yama. So Nachiketa said, please tell me what is the secret. You see, now you see the evolution of Hinduism from a highly materialistic agenda to becoming a spiritual agenda with this particular question. What is the reality? What is the reality? What is the reality behind the world that I see? And here begins the real Upanishad. I'm going on too much,
No, it's fine.
You're enjoying the story?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay. I hope our viewers are enjoying, not switching us off. So this is how it starts. This is the beautiful way of defining what is a truly spiritual living and what is not a spiritual living. Just see the first words of Yama. Yama said, my boy, let me tell you, two things present themselves to human beings. All humanity gets a choice of two things. What two things? He said, one things are called Shreya, the other things are called Preya. Shreya means which is beneficial, and Preya means which is pleasurable. You could ticklish, who wants to have that? Like me, chocolate cake, I go, yoo, like that. So, two things present themselves to human beings. Either they are Shreya, means beneficial, or they are Preya, pleasurable. Vast majority of humanity are caught by the pleasurable. You see, this is again true in very commonsensical terms. Mr. Nishit, suppose you say, if I had to go to the gym every day, so painful and tiresome, it may benefit me, but it's not very pleasurable. But if I go and sit in the pub and drink 2 pints of beer, perhaps it's pleasurable.
Yes.
See, this is the Shreya and Preya in commonsensical terms. So rather than focus on something that is beneficial, we focus on something that is immediately giving immediate kind of ticklish feeling and pleasurable sensation.
So Jay, while we are on this topic, I think it's important to ask the question that why is it that the path of pleasure is so tempting to most people when they know they should choose what's right or what's good over what's pleasant, which is not necessarily good.
Yes.
So why is it so tempting? Like, Nachiketa was being tempted,
yes,
he didn't fall for it.
Correct.
But that's not like most people.
The reason is this. You see, if you've been, in a way, I keep repeating this, it's very important. In fact, this part also comes in the story of this Upanishad, the idea of reincarnation. Over many lifetimes, you've gone through many different lives, animal life and human life. Now, in the animal and the most human life, we found things which were kind of pleasurable, something very attractive that allowed us to continue to exist. When you're an animal, suppose you eat some nice food that you like, you chew it and you find it sugary and you like it. So you got an attraction towards the thing that allowed you to continue to survive in the animal kingdom. In the human kingdom, the same thing happens. You are still infected with the same feelings. So pleasurable are things which were necessary in the animal kingdom to survive, and they become part of your character. Mm-hmm. Even in the human frame, we still look for pleasurable. Sweet. Even you get diabetes. So that is if like a continuation of. You see, this is important for us to recognize the importance of reincarnation. A lot of issues that we suffer with here in the human condition have been acquired through the animal's existence, and that was necessary too. Otherwise, you would not have survived if you had not been choosing for pleasurable food. If you're eating some thorny stuff, you'll die. So it has been ingrained in us. So that is why we are looking for pleasurable things, not because we are villains. It's nice to recognize our true reason, and then you can rise above it rather than say, "Oh, I'm villainous, I'm a horrible man. I only want pleasurable things." No, it's been acquired. We have to rise about it. This is the idea of moving from animal to human, from the human to the divine. This is what Nachiketa is trying to achieve. So he said, not pleasurable, I want a resolution to my human condition. What's the permanent resolution? So that is why pleasurable is nothing wrong. We don't vilify it. We recognize, but we see where we picked it up from and why it doesn't sort us out. Because it gives us temporary fizz, and then it disappears, and we don't get anywhere, and we keep chasing after it. And the whole of this Upanishad is basically saying this desire that we have for material possession, material enjoyment, in a way holds you down. This is prayer, pulling you down, not allowing you to progress spiritually. So nothing to vilify, but recognize it for what it is, then you can rise above it, like Nachiketa.
Wonderful. So we've got loads of other questions from the viewers. In fact, we have, I see a comment from Autumn saying, why are the Upanishads important? She says, religion starts to become real via spiritual experiences, or spirit becomes experience. If you experience the spirit and express it, it is the purest Upanishads of our time.
Absolutely. You see, this is what we are saying. We are a live religion, not saying the Upanishads in the ancient times are the only place where you kind of hit the jackpot. You can hit the jackpot here and now, today. And in fact, unless you hit it, you are still best to be agnostic, saying, I'm not sure about all this Mr. Lakhani stuff. And be like this guy, he's always agnostic. I hear it sounds very colorful, but that's all it is. And you have to be like that, otherwise you can't progress from where you are. That's perfectly fine.
Amazing. So I was looking up something about the Upanishads now that we are online. I see something from the Chandogya Upanishad that says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma.
Okay, we won't digress into Chandogya Upanishad. There's another Mahavakya in the sense that everything is essentially nothing but expression of Brahman. But we talk about it in the Kathopanishad as well. We are going to focus on two key features of the Kathopanishad, Atman and Brahman. Now, again, just like you heard the word Upanishad, somebody say, what is it? You say, I'm not sure. Same way you heard the word Atma, it's not even Atman, it's Atma. But in English we make it Atman, and Brahma, not Brahman, but we call it Brahman. So these two words are the central philosophic ideas, conceptual ideas of Hinduism, which most Hindus have no clue about. But this Upanishad is exploring it. And in fact, Chandogya, that you just mentioned, just talked about Brahman as essential nature of this creation. In fact, I'd like to digress a little bit more. You know, I'm Gujarati, and when I hear Narsi Mehta, I really get my hair stand on end. Narsi Mehta was a rustic who lived about 500 years ago. But he was a spiritually charged personality. He didn't go to any university, he didn't go to any yoga classes. He was spiritually charged up, and the material that came out of his lips is the most dynamic stuff. Even, Vaishnava Janata we hear in Hindu singing came from Narsi Mehta as well. But the other one that I loved the most, I'm going to digress. Sorry, I'm losing track of my Kathopanishad. This is the modern Kathopanishad. Narsi Mehta said, when I open my eyes, I can't see the world anymore. What's happened to the world is disappeared. I only see Brahma. Brahma mucking about with Brahma. So what is it? The Gujarati word is Brahma Brahmani Same Latka Kare. There's no English word for Latka. It means Brahma messing about with Brahman. So he doesn't see the world anymore. He sees just Brahman interacting with Brahman and playing around and messing up Brahman. And this is the highest spiritual experience. This is the Upanishad of a modern person who lived 500 years ago. So when I hear stuff like this, this guy has actually experienced Brahman. Otherwise, this kind of language cannot occur. So I'm digressing quite a lot. I'm Gujarati chap, so I get caught up. And I'm sure in other parts of India, there are similar personalities who talk about spirituality from experience. And whatever flows out of their lips is the best Upanishad.
Brilliant. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us today. We were on a thematic session today. We were discussing the Upanishads, specifically the Kathopanishad. And we've now come to an end on that side. We will now pick up the usual questions.
There's a lot more to say on Kathopanishad. Must please
let me.
No, I've just started the first verse.
Okay.
Shreya, prayer. Shreya is beneficial, but people ignore it because this doesn't seem very pleasurable. Pleasurable is something that is strongly materially oriented. We are automatically attracted to the lower. It's like force of gravity. It attracts you to the lower level. So we attract to the material agenda, and that is why we lose track of our spiritual agenda. That's first thing that Riyama says.
Okay.
Shreya and a prayer. Then this is if you like the beginning of Upanishad. He said, what is this thing? What is my true nature? What is your true nature that doesn't die when the body dies? This is the beginning of the Upanishad. He said, this thing, Atman, that we call Atman, that doesn't die with the body, underpins you, but yet it is not the ego. What is this? What is this? And some of the lovely verses that I say are like this. I just touch on some of them. He says, this thing that we talk about, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo, Na Medaya, Na Bahuna Shruteen. This is the height of Hindu philosophy in this Upanishad. He said, this thing that I call Atman cannot be captured through discourses, me talking to Nishit Bhai, cannot be captured in the Shrutis, even the scripture of authority, cannot be captured through intellectual gymnastics. It can only be experienced to verify. There is no other easy way. There is no way to capture it. Now you see this. Why is this important? This is the only humble scripture of the world tradition that says, you see these scriptures, these Vedas, Upanishads, these are scribbles. Unless you experience this for yourself, you can never be certain. There is no intellectual gymnastics you can do to capture it. There is no scripture of authority that can capture it. Yes, okay, I've said it, so what? You have to experience it for yourself to really validate it. Look at the power. No, this is the most humblest scripture saying, see this scripture? Not absolute. This is why when I see other religions saying, oh, everything is written in my book, I smile, go away. This is called idolatry of the book. We don't have that. We say, no, we are saying, Nayam Atma Pravachanina Labhyo Namedaya Na Bahuna Shuten. So I use this many times when I'm doing philosophic lectures at university, saying, we are asserting that your intellectual gymnastics to prove the existence of God will fail. That is what English is saying, and it does fail. We'll test it out one of these days. So this is one of the beautiful things. The other thing that I love is talking about Brahman. The underpinning to reality. The underpinning to ourselves is this thing called Atman, which cannot be captured unless you experience it. You cannot be sure about it. Other word that he uses is Brahman. Now Brahman or Brahma is the real pronunciation. Is difficult again. So again, this you see the Yama, the poetic gesture. Again, I'm getting carried away today. Na tatra surya bhati. You see, na chandra tarakam. Na kutoyam agni. The thing that I'm talking about is not lit by the sun, the moon, or the fire on earth, but by its fire everything lights up. Na tatra surya bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema viduto bhati, kutoyam agni. Even this lightning cannot really shine light on this thing called Brahman that underpins reality. And yet it is through the light of Brahman that everything else lights up. Again, you see, as I told you, it'll be poetic. And there are a few words that I like to memorize because they suddenly touch me. You know, this na tatra surya bhati. This is the definition of Brahman, underpinning to reality which cannot be lit up through intellect, through any of the fires that we talk about, and yet when it lights up, everything kind of comes alive. This is the underpinning to reality, is Brahma or Brahman. I think rather than going to too many of these verses and get carried away with poetic material, let's take on some questions, bring ourselves down to earth.
So we've got a question from Syed Jawad, who's from Karachi, and this is more or less the googly of today. And his question is, what is the purpose of a human life? If somebody is penniless but happy and content, would he or she be considered a loser in today's world? What makes for a successful life?
You see, this is the standard thing that most of humanity struggles with. Somehow we feel that when you see somebody rich, well-to-do, highly respected, we feel, wow, they have got it. They're in euphoric state, yahoo, they hit the jackpot. Check them out. People who won the lotteries, look at our United Kingdom Queen. That's the best example. She's got everything, the Kohinoor and everything. And all the servants and everybody bows down to her. So she's got the position, power, wealth. And look at her face. I'm so happy, we fizzle down. What happened? So success, or if you like, the resolution of human condition, it does not lie with wealth. Whether you are penniless with millions of pounds, you are in the same boat. Makes no difference. So success cannot be measured by material wealth or your position or your power. No, my friend. Only way we say you had a successful life is, according to this Upanishad, is when you recognize your true dignity, true divinity, true magnanimous nature that you possess as spirit. And the only way you can ascertain, as I just said, is through first an experience. You say, well, it's tricky. Of course it's tricky. You need perseverance, vivek, discrimination, and vairagya, like Nachiketa, to experience the ultimate reality.
Brilliant. So just a few hellos from some of our viewers. We've got Kumar watching us from Singapore. We've got Paul Elliott. We've got Sam De Silva watching us from Punjab. We've got Aju Bhaskaran and a few other, Pratik Burkhawala and a few others. So the next question is, can one meditate in Shavasana, which is in the pose of a dead body lying down?
Okay. See, in the last few sessions I've been talking about Raj Yoga and talking about one of the steps of the Raj Yoga. The third step is called asana. And the good thing about Raj Yoga is not the Hatha Yoga, which gives all these weird postures. Raj Yoga simply says you can meditate by sitting up in an upright position. Means your backbone must be straight. That's all it imposes. Straight backbone. This is the beginning of asana. Be steadfast. Don't even flinch. No eyelid flickering. Nothing. Sit up straight with your backbone straight. This is the asana recommended. In a very comfortable position. No need for lotus posture either. You can be sukhasana, just ordinary kind of folded legs. But then one viewer, I know this kind of viewers, ask, what about Savasana? Savasana means basically like a shav, means dead body. So a person lies flat with his hands kind of like this, opened up means nothing is left and gone, with hands and just outstretched hands and just lying on the floor like that. Like a shav, like a dead body. So the one viewer is very naughty, but he's asking, why can't we do meditation in that Savasana? And the answer is, of course, the common sensical answer is, highly likely that instead of going into a state of meditation, it will go into a state of sleep. Because you're lying down, you don't have that control, so you slowly kind of snooze and kind of go into a state of dream or state of sleep. But this is, again, you say, I like to bring in exception. There was one modern, again, I'd like to name the same person who was able to go in the deepest meditation using the Savasana posture. You'll be surprised. And that is my lovely friend, lovely kind of mentor, Ramana Maharshi. At the age of about 16, I think, one day he suddenly felt, I'm going to die. I don't know why that fear came from nowhere. He was a healthy boy, very healthy and very strong and good swimmer. He just said, I'm going to die. He just decided on himself that suddenly a fear crept in, saying, I'm dying. So in his little room, the room is well kind of documented. You can see the pictures in the room. He lay flat on the floor, Savasana. I'm dead. He said, I'm dead. And then he closed his eyes and said, okay, I'm dead. He's basically, in a way, charging himself up to experience the spirit. He said, I'm dead. And then he said, okay, now the people will come in this room, they'll pick up the body, take it to the cremation ground and burn it. Now what has happened to me? Where am I? Just this particular process of thinking process is not suitable for all of us. By the way, don't try it, nothing will happen to you. You'll not be dead, nobody will cremate you. But this boy, at a very young age, went into this posture, just lying flat, saying, I'm dead. And went into the deepest meditation, where he recognized, I am not the body, the mind, the intellect, the ego. I am the spirit. Once you have that experience, and if you are fortunate like Ramana Maharshi, that experience stays with you forever. You are no longer of this world. You live in the world of the spirit. You are Atman. You actually, day and night, from that day, that boy was in that state. So you don't go to the school and concentrate. And his brother and the family members said, this guy is no good, he's wasting money, paying school fees. So they're taunting him, saying, come on, you must study. And one day when they had given him some money to pay the fees, he said, okay. Then the lovely letter he wrote, I'm digressing quite a lot. He wrote a letter. This, he didn't say I, this. He has left this change here, he's not given the fees. This has taken some rupees so that this can travel to Arunachal mountain. And don't look for this. He didn't say look for me. The word me had gone. Once you experience the spirit, you can't say me anymore. You can't. Same with Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He would say this. He would point to this. He would say this. This is some outsider, some kind of a piece of wood. This, he said, did this. This fell down. Never say I. I cannot be. A person spiritually right will not use the word I. So this Ramana Maharshi left this note. This note is well documented and kept in archive. And he walked away. This is the beginning of this is the story of Ramana Maharshi. So he had Savasana that sent him to the highest. But by the way, majority of viewers, I would not recommend this. I would say sit up straight and practice. It's not easy, but practice.
Brilliant. So we've got loads of questions. I've seen one interesting one here from Pratik Burkhawala. So, we hear about how the world was hit by an outside object.
Meteor.
Yep, causing the end of the dinosaur age. Yeah. It wiped out everything on Earth. So he's saying that what if something were to happen again in that kind of an aspect? What happens to all the souls, and will they be reborn as humans somewhere else?
You see, yes, the catastrophe can happen anytime. I agree. It's not just necessarily happened 68 billion years ago. It can happen again. And there is a chance of that happening again. Now people say there are about 7 billion human beings. They will not reach moksha. They will not end of this journey of being reborn again and again. What happens to them? They are left in a limbo land. What happens to them? Good question. The answer is, look, there are many levels of existence, and maybe they find expression another level of existence. We believe in that. But according to me, I look at them in a philosophical style. They were never here. It was just an appearance that this ultimate reality was manifesting as a lot of individual, human, animal, plants. The same ultimate was manifesting, percolating through this. It was just manifesting, appearing through these forms. It was never down here. So when this appearance it goes flicked out, nothing happens. It was never here. We were never here. This is highly philosophic, and most people will go, oh dear, what's going to happen? We have no clue. But this is the real philosophic answer to this very deep question.
Thank you, viewers, joining us today on the live Q&A. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, a comment, or let us know your thoughts in the comments area, either on YouTube or on Facebook. So just a quick hello to Ashok Kumar and we've got Primo Ganesh, Vandan Amranya watching us from London. We've got Kalyuga Krishna, we've got Vipral Budram, Nick Shubham, and many others. So we have a question here from Kalyuga Krishna, and this is an interesting one because it's one of those ones that I enjoy, which is, can you please tell us what is the ultimate goal of life? What is life all about? I've asked many people, but I've found no appropriate answer. I've asked this many times. And why are we here?
You're expecting me to answer this? Okay. You see, again, I'm flying off into philosophy, but that's all I can do. I cannot give you a waffle. I don't like to give waffle. You can say, oh, why not? You are here, so live with it. What's the big deal? Why making a big fuss about it? Somebody would say that. I would not do that. You see, the reason why the creation, why all this merry-go-round, reincarnation, why oh why, is a question that cannot be easily fogged off. And no kind of waffle. I mean, somebody will give you a waffle. The waffle I hear is, oh, God made you so that you can love God. Come on, he doesn't have. He can click his finger. I love him. I don't need to be born here and get whacked and then I love him and all that. So this is a waffle. According to me, it's a waffle. So if you want to live with a waffle, find some waffle like that. But I don't. I am saying the question of why the creation, why we are here, what is the reason for all this reincarnation and going through ups and downs and getting whacked so many times? Why oh why? This question is unanswerable. Not because I'm going to run away from it. Because this idea of why, where, when, etc. comes with the Big Bang, with creation. So this idea of causation, cause, why, comes with the Big Bang. The creation itself is without answer. Why? No idea. So why this variation, why human beings will remain unanswerable? Not because we are running away from it, because this question, if you can hold it to your heart, I'm telling you, this question will lead you to a spiritual experience. When you are, this is what happened to this little Nachiketa. He said, why? What is going on? This was his idea. What's the nature of reality? And that question led him to the king of death and get an answer, an experiential answer, saying you have to experience this thing for yourself to recognize your true divinity and dignity and rise above this very limited vision you have regarding yourself. So the answer is basically, look, it's not a negative answer, and your question is not negative either. It's a very cutting question. If this question keeps bothering you, why am I here? What this purpose? What is this purpose? You become a Nachiketa. I'm telling you. Simple as that. So this question is important. Hang on to the question. Don't let it go. Don't let Mr. Lakhani fob you off. Just say, Mr. Lakhani can say what he likes. But what the heck? Why am I here? Why am I here? Suppose you are in this question is ingrained in you, keeps repeating itself on you. It will push you towards a spiritual.
Keep digging.
Keep digging. It will force you to become spiritual. Because you are so kind of walked away about it, you can't let go of it. So it will shove you to a spiritual dimension. That's what happened in Nachiketa.
I think it's every person has their own path to follow, and there is no one such answer which is suitable for everybody. You just have to keep discovering what works best for you.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
You progress from where you are, not where Mr. Lakhani is or where Ramana Maharshi was. You start from where you are, and this question will lead you forward.
So, Jai, we all know that a lot of people believe in the power of prayer. So, the next question is from Sunil Thakkar, and he says, do you think that prayer or joint prayer has any effect on the Brahman?
Okay, Brahman, as I said, cannot be reached through any of these shenanigans we might do. It remains aloof, completely aloof, underpinning to reality, and yet you can't touch it, and yet you are that. So that is different. Brahman is beyond this kind of any interference. Now, if it was possible to prod it, then it's worthless. It's like a little animal. You go prod it, oh Brahman, hello, come on, react. It doesn't. It's underpinning and yet doesn't, become kind of you cannot invoke it in that sense. But prayer-wise, it's important. Why are Upanishads okay, but still something else the Hindus have been using? This idea of Atman Brahman thing, very subtle, very poetic, na tatra surya blah blah blah. But for a common man, what the heck is he on about? So it would have failed. India would have lost its spiritual tradition if it had not evolved further. Do you know how the evolution took place? And I like this gentleman. His name is Ramanujacharya. Adi Shankara came with the idea of Atman, Brahman, and all these Upanishads, all that. But it is still subtle and poetic. Then Ramanuja appeared. And I like this man because you can see he's a pragmatic guy. He said to engage the ordinary mind, we need to modify this Brahman into a super personality. And by doing that, we can engage with it. With Brahman, how do you engage? So in order for us to engage with this Brahman, let us turn it into a super, like human being, but superhuman, and then we can engage with it and worship it and pray. That's what this man is asking. But are prayers useful? Yes. because you have now conjured up this idea of a great super personality, and by praying to him you are trying to reach out to him, so you are becoming closer to Brahman without realizing it, because you can easily latch on to this super personality. Oh, love you Vishnu, I love you Shiva, and you progress. So we have learned the trick, but the trick comes with the downside. The downside, we get so fixated on the personality, we lose sight of the Brahman. And we get caught up in this colorful narrative and this colorful traditions and festivals, but so be this human nature. So we have managed to keep our tradition alive by, in a way, invoking super personalities. So we are not apologizing. It has made us, our tradition, highly colorful and engaging. Look at you, ordinary human being. Suppose I told him Brahman, Atman, or Kathopanishad read, they'll get headache in 2 minutes. They'll go away, run away from me. But you talk about this and sing the songs of glories of Shiva. Oh, Om Namah Shivaya, repeat. And they say, yes, this is what I like. And they'll see the image of Shiva and focus on Shiva and pray. By praying, Shiva is going to come close to them. They are going to get close to Shiva.
Amazing. So, Jai, we keep talking about yoga and how it can be beneficial for your discipline, physical and mental health as well. Now, we've got a viewer called Sagar Kharka, and he's asking is, if we do meditation in the wrong way, can it then lead to a negative thing like mental disorders?
No. One word of warning. If you are practicing pranayama, people say do pranayama is easy, you can learn it from textbook. I would say no. Pranayama means you breathe in, hold the breath in, and then exhale it. That process is called pranayama. If you don't have a proper teacher to guide you in the process of pranayama, it can produce nervous disorder. This is recorded. So you require a very competent teacher to guide you in the process of pranayama. Don't try and do it by yourself. I'm telling you, you can do nadi shuddhi, means breathe in and breathe out, without holding the breath in. That's safe. But you breathe in and hold the breath in and then breathe out, that's called pranayama. Unless you got a competent teacher overseeing you, you can have serious health problems. Okay, that's the one cautionary note I can pass on. Apart from that, suppose you are meditating. We always say wrong meditation. What meditation? Suppose you're meditating means you are focusing your attention, you are disciplining mind to become one-pointed and focus on anything. It can be a piece of, a little lamp, oil lamp, and you're focusing on it. Or it can be an idea, it can be a thought, it can be a mantra. Any focusing attitude you adopt in any form of meditation cannot lead you to anything but improvement, because you're becoming one-pointed. And that's the whole aim of yoga. Chitta vritti nirodha, become one-pointed. So any process, suppose you say, oh, you see, I just love that girl and I'm going to focus on that. I'm telling you, I'm not advising you, by the way, but if you become focused on anything, fully focused and one-pointed, it will lead you to deeper dimension of spirituality. You'll forget the girl, by the way, but you become one-pointed.
Amazing. So leading on to that, we have another question from Sam De Silva, and he's saying, how to meditate on Sagun Sakar Brahman? Can visualizing techniques and mentally speaking to the deity invoke it?
Yes. See, we allow it. Other traditions are frightened to kind of turn this great principle, the God or whatever, into a personality and to give it form. They say, no, you can't. We say, we can. As we are human, we might like to think of the ultimate reality in human terms. We might exaggerate the features. Instead of having 2 arms, they might have 4 arms. So we do these things, but in a way to engage our attention, saying this is not human, it's superhuman. And through that process, we are in a way engaging with the idea of spirituality by in a way giving it a kind of human format. And so fine, nothing wrong with it. So suppose you are a devout person, and suppose you say which form? The one that you like, my friend, not the one I like. I mean, I like to focus on Sri Ramakrishna, but I can't impose it on you. You may say, I love Shiva, I love Mother Goddess, good for you. Focus on the form that in a way attracts you, because it comes from your cultural, your social, your family background. That's your beginning, starting point, because you've been weaned on it. So focus on and build, in a way, try and implore, kind of link up with that image, talk to that image happily. You're allowed to do that in Hinduism. Yes, talk and chat and even scream at him, say, how dare you. You have to do that in Hinduism. You can scream at God even. But that way you are engaging with the idea of spirituality. So allow for it and progress from where you are. See, we all progress at our own pace from where we are and not where somebody else is. So be it. This is our magnanimous tradition.
Okay, so we have 1 or 2 last few questions I'm going to ask. This one from Pratik Garg. Hello Pratik, you're a regular viewer on the channel. Thank you for your question. So the question is, if somebody is beyond materialism and jealousy, but he is lazy, is laziness a big hurdle to overcome?
I hope you are not talking about yourself, Pratik. I'm worried now. Look, see, the whole of this creation is made of three particular attributes or kind of threads. They're called guna, three guna. One is called sattva, other is called rajas, third is called tamas. Now, tamas is embedded in creation. Inertia is in the physical world. Inertia, in the human terms, it is kind of laid back, kind of happy to be ignorant about reality. So this is embedded in creation. It's not that you are a villain. We all have these three threads, all of us. Maybe I have a little bit more of these and a little bit less of that, but so be it. We all have it. These three threads hold us together. Never single, it's all three tied up. One is less important, the other are more prominent. The thing is this is very simple. Again, Bhagavad Gita teaches beautifully. It says, it is better to be active. Action is better than inaction. So if you are tamasi, means full of inertia, first rule is become active, my friend. It may be for the wrong reason. It may be doing things which are weird, but still be active rather than be inactive, because you're like a piece of stone then. So show that you are a living thing, you become active. This is the first thing in Bhagavad Gita. Action is better than inaction. The second thing we say is act. This is going from tamas, inertia, to rajas, activity. Then we put in the caveat. But from rajas, just being active, start to act in a selfless manner, because most of us are automatically geared to act in a selfish manner. I want to eat this, I want to go there, I want to visit this, I want to go and see this play, I want to go on tour. So we all have this kind of selfish motivation for our action. So the third thing that comes in the Bhagavad Gita is from rajas, from just being active, become sattvic. Act for the greater good rather than your private good, because that will make you into little nothing but a kind of animal chewing his food and sitting in the corner. But he's active, but not anymore. You're just an animal surviving. But when you start living for others or living for the greater good, you're moving from rajas to sattva. This means the highest attribute, turning you into a spiritual being. So if you are stuck with the tamas, move to rajas. First, be active, go and play football, whatever, and then secondly, try and play a football whereby somebody else benefits. Somebody's health is kind of improved or whatever. I'm just lightening up, but this is the process.
Brilliant. So viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been on for almost 50 minutes now, 50 plus minutes. We will bring this to a close. Just wanted to share with you something, Jebe. This morning I was at a Jewish synagogue. I went for the very first time to attend a friend's son's bar mitzvah, which is their coming of age ceremony. And I keep talking about how different things can affect spirituality. And they had a men's choir, and I was just next to them. And when they were singing their prayer,
beautiful.
I didn't understand a single word.
It will hit you.
But the power of that choir was quite uplifting.
Yes.
And so just as a point of observation, if nobody has ever experienced the power of that kind of singing or I would say even prayer, right, in a collective format, it is something definitely worth experiencing, regardless of whatever religion it is. It will uplift your soul.
It's very true. I've exposed to this quite a few times, and I've got nothing but the highest appreciation of the beautiful way, the devotion flowing, and done in a very kind of articulate manner, done in a very systematic manner, done in a very cooperative manner. The whole choir comes together, and the sound it produces will capture your attention, no doubt. See, they are making one pointed through the power of music and power of singing. So what's wrong? We say, fine, this is the way they are becoming spiritually kind of uplifted. So be it.
It's really, really brilliant. So Pratik, this I like to end with a quote from Swami Vivekananda. So this one's bearing you in mind. And this quote goes that everything that is excellent will come when this sleeping soul is aroused with self-conscious activity. So don't be lazy, whoever it is, be self-conscious and be active. Have a great week ahead, and we will see you next week on Saturday at the same time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Nishi. Bye.
Yeah.